go. All right, trig. Don't forget SOHCAHTOA. We'll probably have it on the board, or it'll probably be on your test, but remember what it means. Sine is S, cosine is C, tangent is T. Those trig functions are in your Desmos calculator. The green one that you get from Launchpad, don't forget. Okay, so first things first. Number 1, 2, and 3. Sine, cosine, and tangent, you got to look at the angle that they're talking about, and all three of these are talking about A. So put an arc at A, and we always label the opposite side with an O, across from the 90 with an H, and the leftover A. Sine is so, right? So, O over H, 18 over 30. Use this line as a fraction bar. Ka, A over H is 24 over 30. And then TOA, O over A is going to be 18 over 24. Now, when it says give the ratio or the fraction, that's it. You're not solving. You could solve for A now that you know inverse trig, but they're not asking for A. They're just asking you for the ratio. That's it. Okay, down here, these are easy. Just type them in. Use your calculator to calculate. Tan 50, literally. 1 point. And by the way, you click the wrench for settings. You got to make sure that degrees is darkened here. Okay, but we're gonna round now 2 decimal places. So 1.19. The next one makes the 9 stay the same. 1.19. Sine 75, sin 75, 0.965, the 5 or more raises the score. So 0.97. 97, that's an upside down 6. Cosine 45, 0.707 makes the 0 round up, so 0.71. This is the easiest thing in the world. I really hope you can just type it into your calculator easily. Now, let's get to some trig. Don't forget SOHCAHTOA. Again, I always like to rewrite it like this because, it's O over H, A over H, O over A, SOHCAHTOA. Okay, number 7. Here's my angle. Label the opposite side with an O, across from 90 with an H. The leftover is an A, adjacent. Let's do that on all 3. Here's my angle. The opposite is with an O. Across from 90 is an H. The leftover is an A. My angle is 12. The opposite is an O. Across from 90 is an H. My leftover is an A. Okay, all 3 of these, I'm going to cross out the one I don't need. I don't need A because there's nothing here. On number 8, I don't need H because there's nothing there. Number 9, I don't need O because there's nothing there. Okay. And now I just got to pick the right trig based on what's left over. So if I only have OH, oh, that's S, sine. Then you put the angle, and then you put the ratio. O over H is X over 32. Okay. And then we'll solve for X. How do I get rid of a divided by 32? Times 32 on both sides. 32's cancel. So now I can go to my calculator and type in sine 48, use parentheses, sine 48, and then after the parentheses, times 32, I get 23.780. So it's 23.78. Cool. What about number 8? If I have OA, we remember that OA is TOA. So it's going to be tan. So tangent of 62 equals O over A, X over 25. And just like last time, when X is on top, to get rid of a divided by 25, you do times 25. Times 25. Scratch those out. Tan 62 times 25 gives you 47.018, which rounds it to 2. 47.02. Number 9. All right, number 9, you have AH, which is cosine. So cosine of 12 degrees equals A over H. Now, notice A is 29, H is X. So this is that situation when X is on the bottom. And we said when X is in the denominator, our little trick is you take the left side of the equation and that denominator, and they can switch places. So now you got X equals 29 is still on top. Cosine 12 goes to the bottom. And now you type it as a big ugly fraction, 29 over cosine 12. And you get 29.647, which rounds that 4 up to 5. 29.65. Okay, so these are 3 regular solving for a side trigonometry problems. You know what to do when x is on top, you multiply. When x is on bottom, you switcheroo. Okay. Okay, over here we got even more trig. So we're going to do these a little bit faster. So we got O, which has nothing on it, H and A. A and H is cosine 43 equals A over H, 36 over X. And remember, you switch when X is on the bottom. So 36 over cosine 43. And you get 49.22. Label O opposite, H is across from 90. And that's all you need because this A is blank. OH is so katoa, S is sine, 26 equals O over H, 11 over X. So once again, you got to switcheroo because it's in the denominator. 11 over sine 26 gives you 25.09. Okay, and then you label OHA. Here's my O. H has nothing. A is over here. OA, TOA is tan, so tan 41 equals O over H. And when X is on top, you just get rid of that denominator by multiplying. So tan 41 times 32, tan parentheses 41, end the parentheses, times 32 gives you 27.82 when you round. Okay, so those are 3 more trig problems, a little faster, but same idea. Label, cross one out, pick the trig, angle equals ratio, solve for X, plug it in. Okay. 13. So you got to be able to do a problem, word problem, with some angle of elevation or depression. So it says a kite with a string of 250, labeled here, has a angle off with the ground. So this is an angle of elevation, if you remember that. And you're solving for what? How high is the kite? Vertical altitude is your X value. So you're going to label, again, the opposite with an O. Across from this 90 is an H. The A is missing. Cross it out. So we have a sine situation. Sine of 55 equals O over H. And then to get rid of that divided by 250, we want to multiply by 250. And then you can plug that into Desmos. Get your solution. Let's see here. Sine 55 times 250 gives me 204.79. And my units of measure are feet. Cool. Now, The next part is this is when we did inverse trig. It says it, but you know that because the x is now not on the outside, it is on the inside. So on both of these, we're going to put an arc at x, the missing angle, label the O, opposite, H, hypotenuse, A. Okay. And once again, we cannot forget SOHCAHTOA for our trig. H is missing, so we're going to put OA, tan. So tan of x equals O over A. And I want you to remember that you can move the tan to the other side. Like if you want to get x by itself, the tan goes to the other side, but you got to put a little -1 on it. So x equals tan inverse 19 over 23. And when you're trying to find that out, remember you got to go to functions in here. So click the little keyboard, click the functions, hit tan inverse 19 divided by 23, and you get 39.5. Actually, it says whole degree. So you round to the nearest unit. 39.5 rounds up to 40 degrees. Over here, same idea. Label O, opposite is H, leftover is A. Cross out that O. And if you want to just cut to the chase, you got a missing angle. AH is cosine. You can just straight up say inverse because you have a missing angle. A over H is 9 over 17. And once again, functions, cosine inverse, and it is 9 over 17. 58.0 rounds to 58 degrees. Don't forget degrees because we're talking about angles, okay? A couple more. Missing angle. So if you have two angles, don't sweat. Start with X. Label O, H, A. Cross out O. AH is cosine inverse A over H. Okay. 60 degrees. Now, if X is 60 degrees and this is 90, can't you figure out why? Like, you could do, 90 plus 60 is what? 150? And the three angles have to add up to 180. So you subtract 150 from 180 and you get 30, right? 30 degrees. Now, what you could have also done is like relabeled OHA. So let's just redraw it. Okay, you could have, had Y, X, 7, 14. From Y, you could have labeled O, H, and A. A is not labeled. O and H is sine inverse of 7 over 14, which is 30 degrees. Couple ways to do it. Okay, if you find one angle, you can find the third one by adding them up to 180. That's the triangle sum theorem. Or you can do two separate inverse trig problems. Last but not least, and this is the trickiest one. Okay, it says that the angle of depression is 24 degrees. And man, it is not inside the triangle. It's outside the triangle. Okay. So you need this angle right here. And the only way to get that angle is to find the complement of 24. You take this right angle, 90, take away the 24 and you get 66 degrees. And now from 66, you can label O, here's 90, H, and A. Cross out that H. OA is tangent, 66, O over A. Switcheroo, not switcheroo, my bad. Times 19,000 times 19,000. So 1066 times 19,000. And that'll give you your answer, which is huge. It's 42,674. Okay, 0.7. And then what is it? Meters. So that's your review. You need to know how to do everything here, study it, be ready for the test.